Hello YouTube, Nalina here, and today's video is another speed build I built in Brindleton Bay, and it was inspired by the Green Roots challenge that I don't remember if I mentioned I wanted to do that challenge. And so I don't know if I'm gonna be doing that challenge straight away just because the new expansion is coming out today, and I was supposed to have released this video like 2, 3 days ago. Yep. But I didn't. So here it is. Uh, I really want to play the new game pack, so that's why I may not start the challenge right away. But I definitely want to play it. So this lot was definitely inspired by the aspects or rules that you have to follow in that challenge, which is basically that your sim needs to live off the land. However, this house is not very good in terms of having to raise a family because in the rules you're expected to raise like a big family so that you can have each one of them basically take over this community and this town. So you have to have, I think it's 10 kids, depending on which empty world you decided to fill up, because there are about 4 or 5 different ones. Newcrest being the smallest one, and Windenburg being the biggest one. So they all have like rules of things that they need to fulfill on each lot. And so this particular one is the founder lot, and they're supposed to basically live off the land. They don't like go to the store and buy stuff, I don't think. I think they're allowed to go to the flea market though. So they can do that, and they can like go out on a date if they're asked out, but like they're really not allowed to leave the town. It's kind of like if you ever watched that movie The Village by M. Night Shyamalan, where you're just in your own little world and you don't leave. So you're self-sufficient and you're providing for yourself. So that's what the idea was for that challenge and for the founders. So that's what I was trying to do here. I was just trying to make like this little isolated house that was in the middle of nowhere, and they're gonna have to live off the land. They're gonna farm here. Well, not farm. Is it, what is it? Is it farming when if you don't have animals? We're gonna have a nice garden and we're gonna provide our own food. In the rules, they tell you have to have like these very specific 8 plants, like fully grown and stuff, before you ever go find a spouse. And I think that you would have to like wait for the opportunity to do that whenever a festival pops up, and then you could like attend, because you're allowed to go to the romantic festival and the flea market. I think just those two. Like you're not participating in Gamescom at all, or you can't go to karaoke. If you do go to like the any of the festivals, you cannot go to like any of the other existing lots in Semi Shuno. Like very specifically, you have to be like of one mind and just um, uh, I'm trying to say the words. You just kind of have to be of one mind and just like one track. Like you're just there to get a spouse, and then you're gonna go home or meet people, and then go home. And then you have to make her or him, depending on your founder, because their spouse has to be someone who can reproduce. There's like no adopting allowed. And even if like the healer, for example, is not present whenever that healer is born, if they're not present for any next children, then that kid has to get kicked out of your land. He's not allowed to stay there, which is so that's so harsh. Like what? I don't think I could do that. Um, I deleted a sim recently, and it's a sim that I've had in my gallery forever. It's a sim that I played with forever, and I recreated the sim and I made them better. So I was like, I don't need this version anymore. Like, I improved him, and I don't know, it's like you can't like override him because I added other sims. So I got rid of him and I felt so bad. Oh, why? I still feel so guilty every time I play in the household that he was originally in, because I kind of moved him out so I could change up my gameplay a little bit and like my storyline. And now I'm just like, why did I do that? And I feel so bad. So, yeah. I don't know if I'll have the strength. Even if your toddlers are raised up to children and they don't have certain skills, like they have to get kicked out of the town. They are not allowed to know or remember that this place exists. You're completely in isolation and like nobody's allowed to come in here. I think there's a mod, or you're supposed to do it through MCC, where it's like you're turning off people spawning in here and stuff like that. So you're only allowed to go out to those two places, and then for the rest of the time, you're actually working very hard. And I think if you play this challenge, you'll get like a lot of achievements done. So yeah, that's the plan. So I did this house inspired by that. I kept thinking I wanted to do it. I was like, I could do it here, I could do it here, but then I keep looking at how small the house is because um I wanted to do a house inspired by that, but I also did not want to do a big house. I really wanted to make a small, tiny house, and I just gotta kind of got out of control because I had built a house before doing this one, and I had a reference. It was of this huge, like I don't know what it was, if it was a castle or like a manor. It was this huge house. It has to have like a billion rooms in there. Probably not though. It certainly didn't have that much space when I was done building it. But just the front, I was copying the front because I really wanted to work on the face of my houses. I've not been very happy with the way they've been looking. And it's not that I've been lazy about it. It's just that I wasn't too keen on how they showed up. So, like, it's like I liked it in the moment, but then when you upload it to the gallery and then it like changes the angle of the house, and it's like, well, I didn't think that was the angle that you were gonna see, obviously, or I wouldn't have built it this certain way, and then it just gets kind of depressing, actually. So a lot of the times I'm like, when I look at my gallery, I'm like, which house is this? Which house is that? Because it like takes a picture at an angle, and then my tree is usually to the right, and then the tree is always in the way, and I always like to have a tree in front of the house. I just think it's super cute. So I've been trying to adjust that. And then, so this house that I was building had like all of these parts that were sticking out. It had a lot of balconies in the front, like some of the parts were sticking out longer. And then it had like these towers on the side. The towers didn't have like that little, what is that, like a patio area. But I put that because we don't have round walls. So I just figured I can give it an illusion and then just put like the regular angled walls behind it. But actually, I couldn't get like a big enough circle, which I found strange because I'm pretty sure I've seen like a circled, what are they called? Porches? Like in some of the builds. Maybe they were much smaller and I'm just thinking about it the wrong way. That could be it. That could really be it. That's depressing. So I put that little pond there because I actually wanted to put like a fishing hole. I wasn't sure if that would have worked with the debug item if I push down the that section and then added that. I didn't even try honestly because I didn't want my fish floating around. I just kind of was like thinking like, oh, I don't think that's gonna work. And I don't really use the terrain tool, and I feel super like terrible because I've seen so many really pretty builds with the terrain tool, and I've tried to use it multiple times, and I've watched tutorials, and I just when I it's my turn to use it, like I understand what everything does, but when I'm using it, it's like everything goes light green, and as soon as you start to move the floor around like up or down, the grid, it doesn't distort, it just disappears. So I don't know where anything is anymore, and I guess that's because like the grid is flat or whatever. But I think that's really frustrating because I spent forever just trying to like make a slope or like a little ramp facade, and it's so difficult, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm fine with my flat houses, like on the floor. I don't care. But I really want to do something with that because I want to make like a house on like a little like a mountainous like thing where it's like in The Sims 3 where you used to have like the back of the house sticking out of the hill and then like the rest of the house, the front is like on the top and it looks super cool. Like I was trying to do something like that. But it's really, I'm having a really hard time because I'm having such a rough time with the terrain, like leveling everything out. It just takes really long. Like, I don't know, maybe I just need to be more patient with myself and with the game, but it's just giving me such a hard time. Even with that pond, that was so deep so fast, and I like pretty sure I lowered the strength of the tool so that it doesn't like aggressively like move the floor around, like punching my fist over into my hands, like it's aggressively like. But anyways, so yeah, then because we have all these trees everywhere, I didn't want to incorporate too many trees on the lot itself. I did dress it up a little bit because I feel like, I mean, they did a really great job with how clean that part is and moving into this area. But I just thought maybe there'll be some trees like sprouted in the middle. Like you couldn't get rid of those stubborn trees. So they're just in like good enough places. You could like build around them. And then I saw someone do this, which I thought was so cool. They made a little greenhouse. Actually, in the challenge, you cannot have a greenhouse until like your first child is born or something, which really sucks because winter is coming and I don't know if the like vegetables that you have to plant are gonna like grow throughout the winter because then I'm gonna starve and also not be able to pay my rent. Another thing, I did not add in. Actually, I did in the beginning, but then I removed it. I didn't add in that temperature. What's it called? The thermos in the house, the thermostat. I removed it because I added in the fireplace. I really kind of want it to be like it depending on your surroundings and I give it that kind of feel. Um, but I realized that you might need the AC in the summer. They don't have a pole, you guys. Like they don't have a pole. So I don't know if it's gonna work out so great. Oh, I was gonna put in a kiddie pool. I really was. And actually, I was trying to incorporate pets and like parenthood stuff. And then in the end, I actually ended up furnishing the slot twice. Not because I was having an issue with my program this time, but because so I had done the windows like a darker color and then like the rest of the house is beige and white and I just wanted it to pop, which is the whole purpose of me putting in the brown windows. I really wanted it to stick out. And then when I went inside the house, I just thought the furniture could kind of like work with that aspect of the windows, like that little darker color. I didn't change the windows. I I kind of I like them dark. I like the windows and the door dark. We need more door options because I'm not happy with the doors that we have. Yeah, it's like so hard to find a good door. It really is. We need all the doors in all the sizes. Like, please. Or at least the base game doors in all sizes. Instead of just like three for like super tall walls and just like 10 or five for like the medium height walls and then like a billion for like the small walls. What I've been doing so that I can work with the way that is I'll use like a small door. Ugh, a small door. I'll use a smaller door on a medium size wall and then on the large wall heights or on the tall ones, the tall wall height, I will use the medium one because I feel like that's the only way to make it work. I don't always want everything to like be completely flushed against the wall. Like I don't really care for that too much or all the time. Like it's nice when you're doing modern stuff, but I don't do too many modern builds. I try. You only get a few of those out of me. But I'm more of a traditional kind of like I don't know. If I could, I would. But I'm not surrounded by too many modern buildings, so it's like it's really hard for me to come up with that kind of style. I live in PA now, and honestly, even in my builds, it's you'll get more of a like a New York kind of feel out of me with like some brick and stuff like that. Cause yeah, I've just left the city recently. I miss it so bad. But yeah, so I'm still working on a lot of things. I mean, I could do you like a townhouse, New York style, truly New York style, like, and you're gonna get the smallest rooms in the world, because New York does not have any big rooms. Okay, you get like a smaller than a closet room. Okay, and yeah, it's okay. Don't get me wrong, there are some apartments where if you spend like $1 billion, you'll get like a good sized room and like a decent-ish closet. But like if you like average income, yeah, you're gonna live in a closet. And you're gonna live in that closet with other people. See, this is why you get living rooms like this small from me, because I come from New York and everything in New York is small. We're just trying to house so many people, you know? Anyway, my mom's house in PA is actually really nice and spacious. And actually, I lived in an apartment for 20 years with my family, and it was very spacious, like to the point of when it came time to have to move, and I was seeing all these like extra small apartments and spaces. I was just like, I can't leave. Like, you want me to move where? I was just actually very spoiled and very fortunate that we had so much space, and over the course of 20 years, you know, you stay in one space, you accumulate a lot of stuff. And we had a lot of stuff. And you know, my brothers moved out and my dad moved out, and I was just there with one of my other brothers, and we were like, we can't really stay in this apartment. You know, it's kind of between all of us, we were all able to like pay the rent together and still have like a decent amount of money. But once everyone started to just become more independent and do their own thing, it was you know, you expect to spend a little bit more money, which it still wasn't bad, honestly. But it was a situation where the house belonged to the city, or the apartment belonged to the city, so we weren't going to be able to stay there anyway. There has to be like a certain amount of people in the apartment for us to have had kept it, and that wasn't the case. So we started looking around, or I did anyway, and everything was just so small. And I'm just like, we have so much stuff. Like, I didn't know what to do with my stuff alone, like was not gonna fit in any of the rooms I was looking at. And these were houses, apartments that were just like barely under what I was already paying. So it was really difficult for me. And after the fact, I started looking for different things, and I started to just be like, okay, you know what, whatever, I'll just go with the flow. This is what it is. And still, it was like everything just got smaller and smaller and smaller until I realized that I just couldn't. And then they got smaller and smaller and more expensive. Like for a one bedroom was gonna cost almost as much as I was paying for a four bedroom and one and a half bathroom, separate kitchen from the living room. The living kitchen dining room were like connected, and then it like turned into a L shape and then led into the living room. So it was all divided, but then I was gonna pay about just as much for a closet with a kitchen and no dining room, no living room. And so it was very difficult for me. If I could actually, if anyone actually gave me a chance, because you know my credit score, I'm working on it, yo. But yeah. So now I live in PA with my mom in her much bigger house, which still my bedroom cannot hold all the things my original room held, but that's okay. We have a basement. I actually built my mom's house in The Sims 4, and it came out the bomb. And I'm just like, why didn't I record this? It's so pretty, and I just haven't been able, I feel, to replicate what I did in that house, furnishing wise, because it looked so good, and I just don't know. So let me just mention before we get done here, I had a very clear vision of what I wanted to do in this living room. And the first time I did it, all the furniture was like very dark. And I wanted to use those couches from Pets with like the high backs. And then I was trying to use like the single chair because I really wanted that. But I also had in mind this chair that, well, it was a couch from Get Together, and it was like white. And I know that it looked like a bench, but when I went to actually look for it and place it in the room, I did not like the way it looked at all. And it just wasn't working. And I've been using a lot of stuff from like base game stuff, which honestly I do use certain packs a lot, and that's pets, parenthood, a lot of base game like kitchen and living room furniture. I use that a lot. I've stopped using like luxury pack and stuff. I use patio and cool kitchen stuff. Of course, I use dine out stuff for the kitchen. Even though I feel like sometimes it's too elegant for the house that I'm putting it in, but these are just like better fridges in the long term, and I feel like your sim is gonna appreciate that I put that fridge in there or that like stove. So they'll be okay. This kitchen I already knew was gonna be very small. I did not anticipate the shape, however, and I needed the space to remain open so that it didn't feel so tight. Because I think I did a build before where I closed up every room and it was just like so tight. And I was like, nah, we're gonna make it feel more spacious. So we opened it up, or rather, left it open. So yeah. And then in the end, I was okay with the couches that I picked. Those blue couches, I think they sort of match with the wall. And then you're gonna see me go downstairs and kind of match the blue with the blue that's like a blue strip on the wallpaper downstairs because I wanted that color to just flow. So there I am, just like, is it the same? And then I think I actually chose the exact color the first time. So yeah. And you're gonna see, if you didn't notice, there's like furniture already in place, and that's from the first time I furnished it, which I was not happy at all. And I didn't care if this video came out like later. It's actually earlier than my usual time, which is like a month later. Usually like on a Wednesday though, and I was just like, no, I need to get this out now. And so there's probably gonna be two videos out today. We'll see if I can do that. I really want to play. I want to share let's play of Strangerville. So yeah. So we're almost getting to the end. But yeah, I ended up refurnishing everything. I had like a lot of light wallpaper but a lot of dark furniture, and I wasn't feeling that. Then I made the wallpaper dark, but then I looked outside of the house and I thought it didn't match. So I went back inside and deleted everything, and I worked around that living room for a long time. And then I worked in this bedroom for a long time. I just could not get like the flow of it. So I got to bring that chair that I was mentioning upstairs instead of using it downstairs. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna bring it up here. And this like piece is from Get to Work. Get to Work has so many good items. And I'm always like, why don't I notice these things like normally? I'm trying to make it incorporate it into my builds a little more, like those items. So you're gonna see me mess with these items here. I was not feeling them. I was just kind of trying to keep it like simple. Like the person who lives here is not complicated. They don't have too many things. They're living off the land. They don't have like cologne and stuff. They don't have time for cologne. Okay, they're gonna take a bath and like that's it. Go to sleep. They didn't even have a TV, so I just gave them books and stuff. So we were keeping it very simple. I was trying to imagine the person here. So that's basically what the furniture was going off of, and that's why there's plants everywhere. Because they're very into gardening, and they're supposed to do floral, like bouquet, floral arrangements. So we're gonna skip the bathroom entirely because I had recorded that in the other part, but you're gonna see screenshots of it. It's a pretty big bathroom, and yeah. And I had to get rid of that piece. I wanted to use this so bad. I just thought it made sense to have it. It just did not fit. So we're coming into the bathroom. I think you're gonna see a bit of rearrangement in there. And then I just basically looking around the house, just seeing if I need something else, seeing how I feel about it, like the flow of the furniture, and can you get everywhere easily. I feel like that's my main weakness, is that I try to make the houses like easy for a person to character to live there. Like you're not gonna be frustrated and deleting items and stuff like that because they're in the way. But at the same time, I feel like that stops me from doing a couple of things that I might have wanted to do. All right, so here's the screenshots. I really hope you enjoyed this build. I worked so hard on it, I swear. I hope if you do live here, you can find it on Origin, hashtag Nalina. Thank you so much for watching. I will speak to you again next time. Bye!